25 years ago, the Great Flood of '93 spilled water from bluff to bluff on the Missouri River from one side of the state to the other. It was one of the most costly, devastating floods in U.S. history, with $15 million in damage.
So we decided to take a look back at this story, one of the biggest we've ever covered. We talked with reporters and members of the community about their experiences and how their lives have changed since the flood.
KOMU 8's Emma Claybrook and Maxwell Sanders dove into hours of footage that was shot in 1993. Emma is here with what they found.
The whole country watched as the Missouri River crept closer and closer to cresting. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. We wanted to find out what it was like for journalists as they covered this national news story. We also wanted to reach out to folks we interviewed back in 1993 to see how they've moved on with their lives since the Great Flood.
The Missouri River has once again shut down Highway 63.
We are on top of Roachport right now. Traffic is just a mess right now.
It poured every day from Memorial Day through the 4th of July in 1993.
It looked like a giant lake, an ocean, not a river coming through here, that's for sure.
Workers who saw a washed out road, a propane scare, and a levee break all in a few hours.
The water is rising 1 foot every 2 hours in Roachport today.
Floodwaters ravaged mid-Missouri, sweeping debris down the river.
Look here behind me over my left shoulder. You'll see a lot of the barricades from the trucks that were supposed to go down to Highway 63.
And so you can imagine a young reporter. This is one of the first stories that they had ever covered. You know, doing that live shot with my hand shaking, talking about the bridge behind us, and probably the most threatened that I've felt in my entire journalism career was at hearing that at that moment that the bridge could explode from that propane tank.
But the flood affected more than just Hill's reporting career.
A real problem.
It wasn't just covering it from a professional perspective, but from a personal perspective, because my parents were also displaced during the flood of '93. They were out of their homes for weeks. So you're covering it as a journalist, you know, all the while knowing that those same floodwaters are also impacting your family.
Help, hope, and supplies rolled into Columbia today.
I was absolutely blown away. I think this is America at its finest.
Peggy Kirkpatrick was the director of the food bank at the time of the flood.
We had $315 in the bank and no food in the warehouse.
In the first 6 weeks of the disaster relief, the food bank received more than $100,000 and distributed more than 3 million pounds of food, thanks to the generosity of people all across the country.
That was the flood of '93 to me, miracle after miracle after miracle.
To see more footage from the flood and to hear more stories from people looking back, visit our website at KOMU.com. In the studio, Emma Claybrook, KOMU 8 News.